People who cheat in their speedruns are hilarious because they're terrible at hiding the fact that they cheated. These are the funniest fake Minecraft speedruns. This speedrun is interesting because the speedrunner is using a face cam. At first, everything is normal. He spawns in, finds a village, and starts taking the beds for the Ender Dragon battle. He gets very lucky finding obsidian, iron, and bread in a chest, and then he crafts some tools. But here's where things start to get weird. He starts to attack the iron golem for loot, and while he's hitting it, he gets up and leaves. And who's playing the game? Well, he gets the iron and makes a bucket, and the speedrunner comes back onto the camera, and he's eating a sandwich. Is this guy using the controller with his feet? Anyways, he builds the nether portal, crafts flint and steel, and while he lights it, he's literally eating a sandwich and on his phone. I think someone's playing a prank on me. So he enters the nether and conveniently finds a bastion, but he falls and pulls off this insane clutch. Wait a second, is that cat playing the game? What in tarnation? He ends up finding a huge vein of gold blocks and throws 75 gold ingots into a pit of 5 trapped piglins, yielding him 13 ender pearls, which is actually extremely lucky. The speedrunner then changes their render distance and field of view, which is a common practice among professional speedrunners. And in doing so, they discover a nether fortress across the lava lake. So they ender pearl to it and quickly find a blaze spawner. And luckily, they drank a fire resistance potion earlier, so battling the blaze was a breeze. But wait a second, the speedrunner is literally taking a nap on camera, so who's fighting the blaze? I'm so confused. So while the speedrunner is literally asleep, someone is playing the game and building the nether portal, and they return to the overworld. He crafts Eyes of Ender, throws an eye, and then starts traveling in that direction. Luckily, the speedrunner wakes up from his nap and wait a second. He comes back and literally has a Batman costume on. Then he shows off his strength training routine. This is a joke, right? He finds the stronghold, fills the portal, and enters the end. But while he's waiting for the dragon to perch, I guess he breaks out his clarinet. Listen, I'm a musician myself, but my ears are in pain. And while he's jamming out for his next jazz solo, someone is beating the Ender Dragon. Wait a second. His controller was never even plugged in? I can't tell if this guy is cheating or he's just extremely talented. This speedrunner starts off in the air, then they approach a Wish.com recreation of a tree, and when they break it, inside is a bunch of items. Planks, sticks, and apples. Buddy, who are you trying to fool here? So they make a crafting table and craft some tools. A pickaxe, an axe, a shovel, and wait, what was that? You can hear the sound of someone breaking blocks. Well, they walk towards the sounds and there's a gigantic hole. The speedrunner jumps down this suspicious ditch and they fall directly into an ancient city. What in tarnation? They try to make a stone pickaxe using tough blocks, but it doesn't work. And all of a sudden, cobblestone just appears out of thin air. Okay. They craft a stone pickaxe and mine a ton of iron ore. But how are they gonna smelt that iron ore? Well, more cobblestone is just pooped from the sky. So they craft a furnace, make an iron pickaxe, and then they conveniently find diamonds. They leave the ancient city and on their way out, they walk right past a warden, and it just stands there. The speedrunner runs through a lush cave, places their furnace, and they waste a ton of time smelting their 4 stacks of iron. But it's okay, because their portal just starts making itself. The speedrunner suspiciously walks to a specific area of the cave, but keep a close eye on their experience levels. There's an extremely subtle cut, and they walk back to their magical nether portal, and out of nowhere, the speedrunner suddenly has flint in their inventory. They craft flint and steel, light the portal, and enter the nether. And sometimes in the nether, pro speedrunners will utilize a strategy called render distance manipulation. This speedrunner tries to do that, but instead, they just start changing all of their Minecraft settings. Yeah, I don't think turning clouds on and off is gonna do anything for you, buddy. So he explores the nether, and wait, why is he walking off that cliff? What? Yeah, I kid you not, the path he's walking on is literally building itself. Well, he follows his yellow brick road, and after a while, it leads him right to a bastion. The speedrunner actually finds some really good loot in the bastion, like blocks of gold and golden apples. But I have a feeling the piglins here are paid actors, because the speedrunner throws iron ingots at them, and they get 13 ender pearls. Maybe changing the cloud settings did do something. They make their way out of the bastion and back to their magical pathway, heading back to the nether portal. And once the speedrunner is in the overworld, they start using questionable methods to locate the stronghold. They start placing random blocks and signs with numbers on them. This guy's a real rocket scientist. But he presses F3, lines his crosshairs up with a very specific angle, and throws an ender pearl. And as soon as he lands, he just starts digging straight down, violating the #1 rule in Minecraft. But someone's gonna have to explain to me what he did, because somehow it worked. Yeah, he dug straight into a stronghold. And on top of that, the end portal only needs 2 more Eyes of Ender. But wait a second, when did the speedrunner get this blaze rod? He makes blaze powder and crafts an Eye of Ender, completes the portal, and enters the end. And so far, maybe the speedrunner could have gotten away with cheating, but when they're in the end, they walk to the edge of the island and they find Iron Man? This one was legit. This speedrunner spawns in the middle of nowhere and runs around for a bit. But wait a second. The speedrunner only has 4 hearts and no hunger bar? What in tarnation? As they explore the world, they locate a village. The speedrunner rummages through the houses and finds some decent loot. An iron pickaxe, an iron sword, 3 obsidian. They continue exploring, and on their journey, they kill some pigs for food. But the pigs are getting thrown super high. Something's funny, and it's not my low subscriber count. After spending a few minutes punching pigs into the sky, the speedrunner conveniently finds a ruined nether portal, and they have just enough obsidian to complete it. Coincidence? I think not. But there's just one problem. They don't have flint and steel. Well, they somehow managed to jump onto the top of the nether portal, and on top of it is flint and steel. Thanks, Mojang. So they light the portal, enter the end, I mean nether, and everything seems normal. Until I started listening to the audio for this speedrun, I noticed that every time the player jumps, he sounds like Mario? Nah, that can't be possible. So they waste a ton of time in the nether until they walk into a dead end. And watch what happens to see if you can spot what's wrong. The speedrunner very subtly made a cut to the speedrun, and after the cut, they travel directly to a bastion. In your dreams, buddy. They find some gold blocks, mine them, and turn them into ingots. Then they find a piglin conveniently trapped behind a wall. But instead of trading with it, they look up, break the block above them, and they get 3 ender pearls. Then they give their gold to the piglin. I don't think the speedrunner understands how trading works in Minecraft. After their completely legitimate means of trading, they continue exploring the nether until they reach a lava lake. Now, I was expecting them to, I don't know, bridge across it, but instead, yeah, somehow they just bounce their way across the nether. They eventually find a nether fortress and punch their way through some blazes, getting 3 blaze rods. And once again, they get right back to bouncing on the lava. But wait a second, is that a nether portal? Did the frame to this portal just grow legs and walk away? So he enters his bootleg nether portal and returns to the overworld. The speedrunner crafts Eyes of Ender, throws one, and goes in that direction. And on their way to finding the stronghold, they instead find a water slide? And it leads them directly to the stronghold. What in tarnation? So they find the portal and it has 2 eyes missing. Must be a lucky coincidence. So they fill the portal and wait, why are they going to third person? Is that Mario? Here we This baloney head just got the new Minecraft speedrun world record, playing as Mario. This speedrunner starts off by finding a village. They get Frostwalker boots and test them out on the water. Then they mine some coal, harvest pumpkins, and walk on lava. Wait, this is the wrong footage. This is the luckiest speedrun I've ever seen. They start off right outside of a desert temple. The speedrunner breaks this tree, and this must be a new 1.19 feature, because under this tree is buried a treasure chest. They find 64 oak logs, and the speedrunner says this.
Yo, I think this is like 1 in a billion chance.
So they enter the desert temple from the top of it, but while they're breaking the block, they have even more to say.
Seems like it's looted.
Yeah, it was definitely looted, buddy. We know you removed this pressure plate. They jump to the bottom and find stupid lucky items. Netherite armor, a diamond pickaxe, and 64 notch apples. The speedrunner breaks through the TNT, and they find diamond blocks, but it gets worse. Beneath the diamond blocks is the end portal. What in tarnation? Well, despite this speedrunner's miraculous luck, they waste a ton of time digging back up to the surface. Right outside of the desert temple is a ruined nether portal, and the loot inside of the chest is questionable. A netherite hoe? Okay. But they do get obsidian, a fire charge, and more notch apples. As if 64 weren't enough already. So they fill in the nether portal, but again, they waste a ton of time trying to find iron and flint. So the speedrunner searches the temple again, and after a few minutes, they finally realize they can use the fire charge to light the nether portal. This is painful to watch. So they light the nether portal and enter the end, I mean nether. And you know, it looks pretty normal. There's some netherrack, some trees, a chest that says do not take, but we don't have to worry. This speedrunner's a good guy. He's not gonna cheat. And he opened the chest. Also, there's ancient debris right in front of them, but they're so good they don't even need it. So the speedrun returns to the overworld, and again, they go back to their desert temple, diamond shrine, end portal bonanza. Fill the portal with eyes and enter the end. But wait a second, something's wrong, and I'll just let the speedrunner tell you.
Where's the ender dragon?
Out of nowhere, someone starts typing in chat saying, I already killed the ender dragon. You will have to face me. The speedrunner fights in a grueling battle against this Alibaba.com Ender Dragon, but halfway through, the Ender Dragon sets their game mode to survival. This is painful to watch.
Let's go! Dead, man, you're dead. You're actually dead.
And just like that, this speedrunner secured the world record 100% legitimately.
Subscribe and like.
Hey, you heard the speedrunner, subscribe. This speedrun has some questionable methods. The speedrunner finds a village and a desert temple right next to it. They get some normal looking loot, but when they come back up, there's suddenly a ruined nether portal outside. And there's conveniently flint and steel and obsidian in the chest. Totally legit. So they complete the portal, light it, and enter the end. They find the nether fortress, get some blaze rods, but here's where things start to get fishy. Everyone knows you can't sleep in the nether. Well, they put a bed down and go to sleep. I have no idea how. And when they wake up in the stronghold. What in tarnation? After looting a couple chests, they come across this one chest and they find a dragon egg? This one was definitely legit. This speedrunner cheats in a way like I've never seen before. He starts off by getting some wood and then wastes a bunch of time breaking all the tree leaves. Okay. Well, when he's done, there's suddenly a stack of wood lying in the ground right next to this cow. Not suspicious at all. Then suddenly a cow flies right past him. I'm so confused. After these very strange events, the speedrunner crafts some tools and finds a village. And inside the village is everything you'd expect. A farm, a house, a well, a cow dropping a golden apple. Wait a second. Did that cow just poop out a golden apple? And an iron pickaxe, an axe, and diamond armor? This guy is so lucky that there's some magical cow pooping out loot. This is the weirdest speedrun I've ever seen. After these unusual events, things just get weirder. The speedrunner loots the farm for some food, and the cow literally starts building the nether portal. I can't believe my eyes. Whoever that cow is though, I don't think they know how to build a portal correctly. After struggling for what seems like minutes, the cow then lights the portal and goes into the nether, and the speedrunner follows it. The speedrunner legitimately got really lucky because he spawned in right next to a bastion, which means he can quickly trap a piglin, trade, and get ender pearls. Well, he explores the bastion and eventually does trap a piglin for trading, and the piglin must be friends with that magical cow because he starts tossing eyes of ender and end portal frames. What in tarnation? The speedrunner builds the end portal, enters the end, and this next part is just the icing on the cake. He breaks all the end crystals, and when the dragon perches, another dragon comes out of nowhere and starts fighting. How is any of this possible? After an epic battle, the second dragon kills the original one, and somehow it enters the portal as well. This speedrunner must be on the newest Minecraft update because I am so confused. This speedrun, I'm confused whether they're cheating or their game is haunted. They spawn in and immediately get wood, then they make 2 wooden pickaxes, which is oddly specific. Then they go up this hill and wait a second, what's that? If I slow down the footage, that looks just like Herobrine? I don't know whether to be creeped out or confused, but things continue to get weirder. The speedrunner then makes a house, but if I freeze frame the footage, you can literally see Herobrine on the side of the screen, and the speedrunner puts some of his items in the chest, then you can hear the chest open and close. When the speedrunner opens his chest, all of his items are gone. After the house being haunted, the speedrunner leaves the area and eventually finds a forest where all the trees have no leaves. Okay. He follows the path made by the trees, which leads to a ruined nether portal that literally builds itself. What in tarnation? He loots the chest and finds some useful items like 2 swords, a shovel, and some iron nuggets. Then he enters the nether portal, and after perusing the nether, he finds what seems to be a trail of mushrooms that conveniently lead him to a nether fortress. Well, there's a suspicious amount of blaze spawned, and look who's here again. All of a sudden, every blaze dies at the same time, and these blaze rods just appear out of nowhere. After these very, very lucky events, the speedrunner leaves the nether, which isn't smart, considering they never found a bastion to get ender pearls. But just wait till you see what happens. When they get back to the overworld, they wander around for a while until they find a trail of ender pearls in the ground. After the trail ends, they have more than enough ender pearls, so they just start digging straight down, and they find the stronghold. How convenient. As they're trying to find the end portal, look who stopped by to visit. Herobrine. Even after completing the end portal, Herobrine is somehow there again. As if the speedrun wasn't haunted enough already, when they get to the end, the speedrunner stands in the middle of the end island, and every end crystal is broken without him moving a muscle. And when the dragon perches, you can see someone landing on the ground next to it, and then the dragon instantly dies. But this is the weirdest part. Before the speedrunner enters the endgame portal to complete the speedrun, you can hear footsteps behind them, and when they turn around, the speedrun cuts to black. What a cliffhanger. This speedrunner starts off in a village, then he goes to the nether, and then he enters the wait, this is the wrong footage. This next speedrunner is Dream, or at least I think it is. He spawns in a village and finds some pretty normal looking loot. Some wood, a fishing rod, grass seeds, and an enchanted book. Then he makes a crafting table and a bow. Seems legit to me. But then he applies the enchanted book to the bow and it's infinity. How is this even possible? He loots more chests and finds some wood, some iron, a bucket, and this next chest, he conveniently finds flint, flint, diamond, and just enough obsidian to make a nether portal. So he makes the nether portal and enters the end, and he's completely surrounded by lava, but it looks like there's a nether fortress in the distance. Now, how is he gonna get over there? Okay, now I know what the infinity enchantment was for. I'm not even sure if this is possible, but that clutch was actually really impressive. But here's where things start getting really suspicious. He gets into the nether fortress and kills a blaze, but remember that enchanted axe that he got from the chest earlier? Well, it drops unnatural amounts of blaze rods. 4 stacks? Not fake at all. Somehow he glitches his boat and launches himself across the nether, conveniently back to the portal. Now remember his looting luck with the blaze? Well, when he gets back to the overworld, there's an enderman conveniently waiting for him. Coincidence? I think not. And it drops 3 stacks of ender pearls. So he makes Eyes of Ender, throws them into the sky to determine the stronghold location, and once again launches himself across the map with his magical enchanted boat. And he conveniently lands right into a village. Nice. Then he makes one bed, jumps into the water, and wait a second, is that the stronghold? I don't think the speedrun moderators were fooled by this one. So he fills the end portal with eyes, enters the end, and as soon as they enter the end, the dragon just dies. Alright, so it's possible this wasn't dream.